For more, we're joined by our politics editor, Marc Perelman. Marc, this claim by Macron's camp, he can't run yet because he's managing the war in Ukraine, it seems like it's pretty convenient for him.
Well, it's pretty convenient, yes, when you watch the polls. The polls are showing that he's leading the pack of the other contenders. He's hovering around 24, 25%, some 8 to 10 percentage points in front of Éric Zemmour, Marine Le Pen on the far right, and Valérie Pécresse on the right, and they're all fighting for second place, essentially. So, in a way,
because it's a two-round system.
It's a two-round system, and only two qualify for the second round, and he's a shoe-in, essentially, as of now. Of course, so there's no need, according to the polls. The plan was that he would throw his hat into the ring this week. It's true that he has been busy with diplomacy. However, it seems the time for diplomacy is probably over now, and he can turn the page and finally begin the campaign in earnest. The leak did not come out from his party that he would hold a rally. However, it's quite convenient to signal that even though he has not declared himself yet, the fact that he's holding a rally in Marseille the day after the final deadline for the endorsements to be deposited at the Constitutional Council, this is how the way it works, clearly shows that he's a candidate without declaring himself yet. It might come in the coming days, maybe at the traditional agricultural fair this weekend, or maybe next week.
And Marc, viewers watching this from outside of France, they've been wondering what this campaign's been about, because identity politics have ruled the airwaves with outrageous statements from far-right candidates. There's this calculus or this common sort of consensus that once Macron declares, we then seg to bread and butter issues?
True, but the concern in Macron's camp is that you turn against Emmanuel Macron, that all the other candidates, they've been waiting for him to come down from the Élysée Palace into the battle of the presidency, and that they would essentially jump on him and criticize him for whatever issues you want. He will probably want to turn this away from identity politics, talk about education, talk about retirement, talk about purchasing power, which has become a crucial issue linked to inflation, obviously, and with the Ukraine crisis. This could transform the situation and really make it more difficult for him to defend the fact that unemployment is at a record low, that growth is back, and that France is performing probably better than other countries, because if the price of gas continues to climb, this will become an issue. So things are still pretty volatile. It will be a very short campaign. It could be an intense one, and the polls might change wildly.
And might change wildly. And then there's the false suspense over Emmanuel Macron's candidacy.
Yes.
Is there a false suspense over the rule of these 500 endorsements you need from mayors to have your name on the ballot? Marine Le Pen, the far-right candidate, she's quote-unquote suspended her campaign until she gets the needed endorsements.
I mean, there's always been political theater saying, especially in the Le Pen camp, say, we won't reach the 500 threshold, and in the end they do. But this year, there is a real problem.
Why?
Because the problem is that there was a reform a few years ago when mayors cannot endorse anonymously. They have to say, I am the mayor of whatever town my name is, and I endorse Marine Le Pen or Éric Zemmour or Jean-Luc Mélenchon. And this is creating, some problems for him, because it could backfire. And so there is really this race. But some candidates who are polling less than 1% have 500 endorsements. So you really have a democracy crisis in the making, because Jean-Luc Mélenchon plus Éric Zemmour plus Marine Le Pen is nearly 40% of the votes, according to the polls. And they really need to get there. And so this is why even the government is saying we have to make sure they get their endorsement.
We had this extraordinary scene on the floor of the National Assembly on Tuesday where Macron's surrogate, the prime minister, pleading to mayors to give endorsements to Macron's rivals?
Yes, because they have a crisis on their hands. I mean, you even had the mayor of Cannes from the Conservative Party saying, I will personally endorse Jean-Luc Mélenchon on the far left. Not because I like him, not because I endorse him politically, but I want him to run because this system is probably reaching its limit. And there's already talk of reforming it. Yes, endorsement is good, but maybe enlarge the endorsement possibility in order to avoid this very unusual spectacle of having major candidates, essentially, and it's true, they have suspended their campaign. Marine Le Pen was supposed to go to different places. Éric Zemmour, they're working the phones to make sure they reach the 500 threshold before the March 4th deadline.
Marc Perelman, our politics editor, many thanks for that update.